What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mr. Mike Lewis back at you. Another video. Oh yeah, you already know how we do it. And today we're going to be talking about systems and how you need to implement systems in life and pretty much everything that you do if you want to produce a specific result, whether that's growing and actualizing your own personal life, or you want to succeed in some sort of industry or something that you're pursuing, right? So pretty much anything, you need to implement a system. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that like button, and make sure you comment down below, of course, you know, what you like and what you didn't like about this video. And if there's a specific comment, a specific video, my bad, that you want me to make, a specific topic that you want me to cover in this channel, as far as like introverts and personal development, leave it down below. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So, systems. So here's the thing about systems, like there's a lot of people who repel systems, and the reason why they repel systems is because, you know, a system sort of implies that you're confined to pretty much, you know, you're confined to a certain set of rules, you know, you have to sort of stick to them. If not, you know, if you step out of the system or you fight the system, then pretty much you're compromising you getting the desired objective. However, some people actually rebel certain systems because they want to produce a different result. But at the same time, what they don't realize is that what they're really trying to do is layer a different type of system on top of the system that's already there. So systems in of themselves will always exist, even if people don't necessarily acknowledge the fact that, you know, you can't just topple one system and then just say that, oh, we're just not going to have a system at all. Because in that case, that means that, you know, like, why would you want to topple the system in the first place? Because, you know, there's an objective, there should be a purpose why you want to, you know, topple a certain system. You know, you want to get rid of it because you want to implement a new one, and so because you want, you know, things to be a different way. So here's the thing about systems, you know, as much as maybe you like them, maybe you're not. If you're an introvert, you probably love systems. I personally love systems, and I implement systems everywhere that I can, because systems themselves make processes so much faster. They make them so much more clear to the mind, because now the mind knows exactly what it's doing. And of course, you know, it just makes the whole entire journey, and you know, your chances, the probability, you know, the percentage of you actually achieving something in a certain field increases, because you actually have a system. You have a set of rules and, you know, a set of steps within that system that are going to allow you to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. And so here's the thing. If you're currently not implementing systems right now, you have to implement systems now. Now, this isn't something very common with, you know, maybe you're an introvert, but you don't necessarily pursue personal development. You probably don't use systems as much. You don't use them everywhere. Maybe you use them like at work. You know, you go to work, maybe, or your passion, whatever your hobby is, you use a specific system. So maybe you're a programmer, and as a programmer, you know, you have a certain system that you have to follow there. Maybe you have your software, and that software is based on a system, and then the software itself, you know, is confined to a set of rules, you know, so you pretty much have certain limitations within that software that you can do certain things here and there. You can manipulate the code this way and that way, but that code, that program can only do so much. That software can only do so much. It's meant to do specific, you know, little things. You know, maybe it can create you know, program files and stuff like that, but that's pretty much it. Maybe this software cannot actually go and create games, and it can go and create like some sort of like some other type of software, right? It probably specializes in a specific particular, you know, software. And so, you know, the system, you know its limitations, and of course, you know, you stick to them in order to produce the results. So, you know, perhaps you want to create a game, and so you go and you do your research and you try to see, okay, like, which piece of software is going to be the best in order for me to achieve what I want to achieve, which in this case, I want to create a really cool game. Maybe it's going to be a first person and third person type of game. And so you want to make sure that game has that capability. So you're going to go and do your research and try to find the best software with the best system that can help you achieve that. And then, of course, you know, there's a system outside of that. So pretty much, if that's what you want to achieve, there's got to be a system. There's got to be some sort of a series of steps that you're gonna take in order to get that. So perhaps, you know, step one is to do your research. Step two is to get the software. sometimes, maybe that software might be a little bit expensive. So who knows, maybe you would have to go and get a normal job, in order to save up some money in order to afford the software. Once you have the software, then maybe you have to go through a learning curve, because, usually, pieces of software that are complex and that can create very complex things usually have a very large learning curve. So perhaps you might have to invest in courses, or maybe you can learn things on YouTube, but it's usually better if you if you just invest in a course, because the course itself is already, it's a system. The course itself, it comes already, like, it's systemized properly. So it shows you, like, from beginner, what you have to do when you're just starting off, and it helps you out, master the basics, and then you go from basics to intermediate, and then you go to advanced. And that's a system that person who created the course created it specifically for someone like you, who has no idea how to use the software, but you want to learn. They're pretty much, they'll charge you a certain amount of money, and then they'll deliver you a course that's systemized specifically to take you from a beginner who knows nothing to somebody who is advanced and create an entire game through that software. So you go, you purchase your course, that's part of the system. So you learn the course, you start implementing, you have the software ready, you bought it. And so, you're going this back and forth. And eventually, it's a system within the course that, you're learning that, okay, I have to learn how to do this first, then that first, then so on and so forth, right? And so that's really how the system works. And eventually you will get your result, because you follow the system. Eventually you're going to learn this software to the advanced level, to where you're able to manipulate that software, as you please. You're able to do whatever it is that you want with the code. And at the end, you can create a very beautiful game, the game that you pretty much imagined before you even started this journey. And that was all thanks to a system. Now, let's just say you didn't have a system. Let's just say you just had the dream of wanting to create this game, but you had no actual system in order to pursue it. What would you really do? You would just, randomly start talking to people about you wanting to create a game, and who knows? I mean, you really have no system, so you're pretty much just going random. Maybe you start looking at other gamers. Maybe you start looking at other softwares. You start looking to the softwares, but you don't know which one to get. And it's just like very random, right? Because there is no system. You don't know what the next step is. And that's what systems is all about. It's all about knowing what the next step is. So here's the thing, like, systems are great. They're great to produce a result. So if you have a desired result, please follow a system, because a system will give you the result and whatever it is that you're trying to pursue. This is the best way in order for you to achieve any sort of goal, purpose, or anything that you're planning to achieve in life. It's very, very important that you know systems. If you refuse to use systems, you will be walking in circles. You'll be going in randomness. You'll just be wondering all the time. You'll be wishing. You'll be like, oh, I want to make that cool game. Oh, I want to become a basketball player. Oh, I want to start a YouTube channel. Oh, I want to be a programmer. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. But nothing's really going to get done, because you're refusing to use a system in order to get there. So once you have a goal, once you've committed to something, once something's caught your interest, make sure you develop a system around it in order for you to achieve that. So if you are pursuing, let's just say you want to be a musician, right? You want to be a guitarist. You want to play the guitar, and you want to be really good at the guitar. Maybe this is a specific guitar, and the more specific you get, the better the system will actually be. So let's just say, like, it's a different journey if you want to become a solo guitarist as opposed to you being part of a band, because then you have to take different steps. The system is going to look a little bit different, and so it's better that you know specifically what you want. That way you can create a very refined system around it. And of course, you can always modify the system. That's another thing too. It's like, if you create the system, you can modify it as you wish. And once you understand systems in general, you can go out there, into the world, and you can understand everybody's system, because everything has a system, especially businesses. Businesses have systems all the time. If you just notice, go outside, you go to a restaurant, very good example. They have a system, right? They have a system that, the restaurant itself has a system that allows them to properly serve customers, that way they're not confused. The employees are not all over the place, not knowing where to take the food, how to take the orders and stuff like that, how to clean and everything. Everybody has a system, everybody's, every employee is in sync. They know exactly what they have to do. They've practiced it probably, they've rehearsed. they're trained properly before that, and so they have a system. The manager has a system. They have a system going. This person's going to do that. When this happens, this is what's going to happen, and so on and so forth. And that's the thing about systems too. You can prepare and anticipate for any possible scenario that can happen within your journey. And so that's why it's so important that you have systems, because systems will help you. Like I said, it'll increase the percentage of you actually achieving stuff, as opposed to just operating on randomness and expecting things to work. Imagine if a restaurant just expected the entire restaurant to work, and they just hired employees and they never told them like exactly what their role was, and you just pretty much threw them in the restaurant and just let them sort of figure it out on their own. That's not a system. What that would happen, that would pretty much frustrate the employees. They would just pretty much be all over the place. Nobody would really know what they're responsible for, and in that case, your entire restaurant might possibly collapse, because nobody really knows what they're supposed to be doing. Nobody's really responsible for any certain particular area within the restaurant, and so at the end, you're gonna have very unsatisfied customers who will probably not come back. And on top of that, they're gonna spread the word around that your restaurant is just not good, because there is no system. Okay, so everything needs a system if it's gonna produce some sort of result, whether that's customer service, whether that's sales, whether that's you providing value. At the end of the day, you need systems. So don't refuse systems, and ignore everybody who tells you that, always refuse the system, always operate outside of the system, and like go outside the box and stuff like that. Don't do that. Okay, because these people don't know what they're talking about, really, because you need systems. Without systems, you're just doing random, and randomness will get you random results. So sure, maybe you operate randomly, like that restaurant, and yes, there is a possibility that you do get lucky and that these employees just naturally just find themselves, sticking to a specific area within the restaurant. They just happen to find the right positions for themselves, and they just happen to be really good at what they do there, and so they pretty much figure it out on their own. That can happen, but that's not very likely. And so that's not a very good strategy, because that's very random. There's the percentage of that even happening is very low, because the personalities are very different. Who knows, maybe you get people who are not so much, maybe there's specific people who have leadership skills, and there's others that don't. Maybe there's some that are better at speaking, and then there's others better who are doing some other stuff. So obviously you don't want to put the chef, who maybe the chef is an introvert. Maybe the chef is an introvert, and so the chef enjoys being in the back, just making the food all on his own. He doesn't really want to be exposing himself to people and talking to people all the time. So it wouldn't make sense to put that person as a waiter, my bad, and or put them in the front, having to receive, the customers, when they're coming in, to greet them and, walk them to their table. It wouldn't make sense to do that, because at that point, you're putting them in a position where, they're not at their best. First of all, it's very uncomfortable because they're introverts. And second of all, they're not operating at their strengths. If this person is a chef, they're supposed to be in the kitchen, not, talking to people and inviting them in, and maybe the person that you put in the kitchen, they're the ones who, they love to talk. They love to connect with people. Maybe that's an extrovert person, and you're putting them in the back. You're isolating them, and you're pretty much depriving them from communication. And at that point, that person's not going to be very happy either. They're going to be pretty uncomfortable back there by themselves. So this is why you need systems, because systems will help you, identify who's good for what. And so, and also, this applies for any sort of journey. You want to be a programmer, you need a system. You need to know exactly, what you're going after. You need to know exactly what tools you're going to be needing. You need to know your own strengths as well, and see how you're gonna do. So that's why the systems are so important, because systems will help you achieve your goals. Randomness will not help you achieve your goals. That's pretty much you just leaving it up to luck. And that's not what we're about in this channel. We're about actually implementing and knowing strategies and techniques, and also mindset that's going to actually get you what you want, not just operate in randomness. If you just want to operate in randomness, then you pretty much don't need all the information in this channel, because, why would you? if you're just going to operate in randomness. You're not going to implement anything to produce something, right? So yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you comment down below, like I said. And thank you very much to everybody who has subscribed. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to getting more subscribers. Oh yeah. So I'll see you guys in the next video.